Sit back.
You sit back.
I wasn't ready. You're overstimulating me.
Alright, welcome everybody to episode 12 of For the Record. I'm Jeffrey. This is Tyler.
Episode 12.
We're bringing you back another great episode. So let's go ahead. Let's just address the elephant that's in the room.
You've addressed a lot of elephants in the last few episodes.
We've done this like 4 times now. So let's just talk about it. We have... This intro has been so hard to film.
This is the 12th element. Element?
The,
What's the 12th element of the periodic table?
Potassium. So let's go ahead and let's talk about it. So
let's address the elephant.
As this is airing, the last episode you guys watched, we were leaving on a cruise, and we pre-recorded. We're having to record another episode inside the night, the same day, so that it can air on the 10th, so we can still bring you guys content while we're gone, and literally out of the country.
Quite frankly, we're going out of the country.
All right, you don't have anything to add to that. Perfect. So
we're going to Mexico.
this episode that's airing, but we have a major guest coming on next week. It's gonna be a lot of fun. January 8th.
Elvis's birthday.
January 8th.
49 years
born
old, does he? No, he's 80.
He would have been 91. 92. Yep. Born in 1935, right? Mm-hmm. 92. Wow, isn't that crazy?
91.
Yes, 91 this year because 90th was last year. 91 years old. So the birthday celebrated of the King of Rock and Roll at Graceland every single year. I want to go to the birthday celebration really bad one year. I really do. Wow. I think it'd be a lot of fun because it'd be cool. Didn't they have a showing of Epic at it? Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I'm really excited. I'm excited to see that one come out in concert.
That's going to have to be its own podcast episode.
It really will be. So yeah, like we talked about, we're pre-filming this. Nothing incredibly new has happened that I could think of that's going to be happening that week.
Nope.
Honestly, we're going to be in another country, so I couldn't really tell you what's happening in the U.S.
We might not come back.
I hope we come back.
From Mexico.
From Mexico, yes. And I'm sure the cruise was a blast. So let's jump into the first segment, Now Playing.
Now Playing. So, Jerry, what's playing on your record player?
Well, last week it was Elton John. This week, like usual, Elvis Presley. I had to pick a song too.
Elvis is on the record player today.
Elvis is on the record player. Stranger in the Crowd from That's the Way It Is.
Stranger in the Crowd.
The live version.
Because I won't be a stranger no more.
There's only one version he did of that song where it was live, and That's the Way It Is. And it is absolutely phenomenal. What are you playing this week?
What is on my album this week? There's a lot of really good songs from the 50s. I'm going to pick a 50s song because I did a movie song last week. But I just don't know what.
You know what song I really like out of the 50s that doesn't get talked about enough? Is Tweedledee Dee or Tutti Frutti.
I just saw Emilio Santoro do Tweedledee Dee.
Tweedledee Dee is a good song. Tweedledee Dee.
I'm going to pick one of my favorite songs from the 50 Million Elvis Fans album, and that's going to be I Need Your Love Tonight.
Oh, okay, so...
That's what's playing on my record.
All right, so there's a couple versions of the song, correct? Right, this one's got the upbeat from the vault?
No,
that's
Ain't
Lovin' You Baby.
Yeah,
that's
which
right.
is also a really good song.
That one is good. So if you guys aren't aware, there's Elvis albums that RCA released for the 50s, 60s, and 70s that are called Elvis from the Vault. So that's where you got the feature from America the Beautiful. You got a live version of Tweedledee Dee, right? There's a live version of Let Yourself Go, a Tiger Man Jam. There's different cuts of King Creole. If you can, you should intro the show with that King Creole cut. Do you think that's possible?
I can try. I'm trying to limit how much of that we put in here just for copyright reasons.
But. Okay. So you guys might have heard that at the start of the episode. And that's from the episode from the vault. And so there's a upbeat version of Ain't That a Lovin' You Baby. So in the movie that it was recorded in, it's kind of slower. It's just like 110 beats a minute, right about. But there's a upbeat version of it, and I love that version. I think it's better in the studio.
It's pretty crazy, but yeah, it's a good version.
It's really good. You know who else? I really don't listen to a lot, but Michael Jackson's not horrible. I've listened to a few of his songs, mainly because I'm an Eddie Van Halen fan. But so that whole album where he played on the Beat It album, where he played on it. I like it because I like Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen's not great.
You don't know what you're talking about. Also, Purple Rain by Prince. I've actually been listening to that a lot.
You know, my favorite rendition of that song ever was done by Mr. Finley Watkins.
I was actually just about to say that. Finley, so when we went to Last Chance in Memphis, they had a break and Finley was like the main headliner. And he played the song and he played the solo of Purple Rain. And I was like, by God, dude, that boy can play. It was
You can
so
shake
good.
that thing.
It was so good. And then I watched it at the halftime show and it was, hey mama, don't you treat me wrong. But yeah, those guys been on a lot. You know, it's interesting because there's always big debates. Who was bigger, Elvis or Michael Jackson? Right? Now, I've always been kind of behind the thought, like, without Elvis, you would have never gotten MJ. And Michael Jackson, everybody says that he stemmed from James Brown, but James Brown was a very close friend of Elvis.
You know,
but do you think I don't even think we would have gotten James Brown without Elvis.
I don't know if I could necessarily get behind that. Oh my God.
Which part?
That without Elvis there would be MJ. I don't think that's the case. I think Michael Jackson stems from a different root. I see where they get their inspiration from each other, but I feel like I don't know. I don't necessarily know that I would say that.
So you think that had Elvis never done what he did at the start and became a superstar, do you think we would have still wound up with a Michael Jackson?
I think so.
I don't think we would have.
I think we would have because
They always said that Michael Jackson was deeply rooted inside James Brown.
Which I agree with.
But you would not have had James Brown without Elvis.
I don't think that's true either.
I 1,000,000% say
James Brown came from the same roots as Arthur Big Boy Crudup, and
had you not had Elvis, you would have never heard of his name.
Who?
Big Boy Crudup.
You would have. That's
No, you
where
wouldn't.
Elvis got his stem from. That's All Right was his song.
Yes, I know that, but I'm saying, but who was the first? Who was the first one to make it big? It was Elvis.
Yeah, but Big Boy Crudup did it. He already had his roots and his grounding before Elvis.
Yeah, but you would have. I don't think you would have had. I don't think MJ would have been on the same level. Let's put it like that. I don't think so. I don't think he would have been near the same level at all.
I think so.
I doubt it. I don't think so.
think
I think without Elvis, without having the first superstar to ever walk the planet, you don't get anybody else. He was the first. I mean, there was names. There was big names.
I don't know that that's
but,
true.
Yeah, but you never had a superstar. Elvis was the first global superstar.
I wouldn't say the first.
Who was it then?
Prince.
Prince?
The Beatles.
You think that Elvis in the 50s was not a worldwide superstar? You think the Beatles were?
Elvis was a worldwide superstar from the day he was born to the day he died.
The day he was born? I wouldn't say that. But at 18 years old when he walked into Sun Studios and he recorded, he was a worldwide sensation.
I would say that we would still have MJ.
I don't think we would. Okay, you may still have MJ, but do you really think that he would still be as big as he is?
Yeah.
So you think MJ is more influential than Elvis Presley?
I don't think how big they would be from each other would determine their influence by any means.
I think it does, because I think without having Elvis's influence to start rock and roll, you would have never. Michael Jackson could have never had the same influence that he did.
Yeah, but I don't know where his music influence came from.
It came from James Brown.
And James Brown was not influenced by Elvis.
James Brown was not influenced by Elvis, but had Elvis not done what he did, because James Brown didn't come around to the 70s.
James Brown already knew what he was doing when he started.
Did he? A lot of cocaine.
He got his roots at the same place that Arthur did, and that was on Beale
Yes,
Street.
and the same thing that I'm telling you over and over and over again is had Elvis not recorded those songs by Big Boy Crudup, by Big Mama Thornton, you would have never heard them.
Well, they were heard back in the day, yes, but they weren't like...
But very minute. And then Elvis recorded them.
Minute to us now, but back then, no.
Yes, back then, yes.
No, they were most definitely heard back then.
No.
Yes.
Outside of the blues and Memphis, no. No way.
Yeah.
Let's compare the numbers. Do we have numbers?
What do we... Here, let's...
How many... Let me pull up my old Teeny Danny Mac. Who had more plays, Big Boy Carter or Elvis for the song That's All Right?
Well, no crap. We know who had more plays. That's a bad question.
8 years later, it had 8 years. It had 8 years.
What?
It had 8 years to catch up to where Elvis did in
the reason
in a year.
That's not a good comparison.
That is 100% a good comparison. putting it out there. What I'm saying is, had Elvis not recorded that song, like today, you would have no idea what that song was had Elvis not recorded it. I guarantee it.
No, it's like half the other songs that were recorded at that time. Unless a famous artist covered them, you would know. How many songs do you know?
So
from the 40s?
So how can you say that you would still get somebody who's deeply rooted in that had you would have never heard that music?
Because we didn't hear it, they would have heard it back in that time.
They were hearing it, but at a very minute scale until Elvis recorded it.
Yeah, but MJ wasn't. Michael Jackson, I don't think so.
What did you say earlier about Michael Jackson?
What? Which part?
The one that you just said while I was looking this up.
What my chat GPT told me?
Mm-hmm.
About. This is a music history analogy that they said. Elvis equals the earthquake, and MJ is the skyscraper that was built because the ground shifted.
I think what MJ did is he did what Elvis did.
The honest verdict, would MJ still be influential? Yes. Would he be Michael Jackson as we know him? Maybe not. Would the world have been ready to crown another king? Yes. Elvis didn't write MJ's music or choreograph his moves. He just made the throne possible. So what I think happened is...
Elvis was the mold.
Elvis, he just created the template. But I don't think that means that... I just think we would have seen MJ in a different form.
Had Elvis not did what he did, Michael Jackson would not have had the influence that he had in the world.
I agree. I disagree. Because you have to look at it this way. Had Donald Trump not become the president doesn't mean that the world... We're going to still see the world the same. It's just going to change based on... Like, his influences... The only way we know it is the way it happened, because that's how it happened. The only way you could rewrite history is if you imagine Elvis not existing. That doesn't mean Michael Jackson would have never have been... We wouldn't know that. Because there's no way to know. Because had there not have been Elvis... So, the Beatles said, John Lennon said before Elvis there was nothing. Back in the 50s and 60s, right? Which is very true.
John Lennon said that in the 70s.
I don't think so.
Pretty sure.
But they're saying before Elvis there was nothing. And before Elvis... There was nothing. When Elvis started in the 50s, so to me, whenever that quote was said, I think the root of that quote is discussing the fact that before Elvis started in music, there was nothing, which is the truth. There was something, but there was nothing in the fact that there was no grounds for the style in which Elvis popularized. Elvis created a new style. Now, had he not have created that new style, I very much believe we would still have Michael Jackson. It would just not be in the same form that we have him now, or we had him.
So without Elvis, you would not have had the MJ that we know. That is what I'm saying.
Well, you could say that about anything. Without Elvis, you wouldn't have Graceland. You wouldn't have half of... You wouldn't have Spencer Sutherland.
Exactly. You wouldn't have 90% of the entertainers probably that walk the earth today. Let's tell you the truth.
Well, because his influence is very deeply rooted in everything.
His influence... He's not deeply rooted in everything. He is everything. He's the mold that started everything.
I mean, not... everything. Rock and roll, yes. And then he
started rock and roll, and when you stem from rock and roll, that's where you got like guys like James Brown. That's where you got Van Halen, Rat. That's where you got Poison and Def Leppard, Skinner, the Eagles. Had Elvis not broken the mold in the 50s when he started, 1954, I don't think that you would have seen that same global pop out of any of those bands. He was the first superstar. I don't think you would have had superstars at the level that we have now. Like Taylor Swift now, I think had Elvis not made the mold of what a superstar is and global phenomenon and who we can look and say the first, I don't think you get that same influence out of a single person.
So I look at it also
but think about it, you had stars. Like you had Frankie Valli and Dion, but they weren't global stars. They were just stars.
They weren't global stars because Elvis had already taken that spot.
Because he was the mold.
Right. But if Elvis didn't exist, I don't think that means we wouldn't have what we have. I feel like we would have what we have in a different form.
It wouldn't be nearly as big at all.
Because the Beatles were still kind of doing their own thing before Elvis did his... The Beatles were very much on the same pathway.
I almost wonder sometimes about the Beatles. On if the Beatles could have done it without him. Now, because when you think about it, so the Beatles started in the 60s, right? At that time, the United States lost Elvis. Like, because he went to Germany. He was drafted. And so we lost, 7 years of Elvis during the reign of the Beatles. Mm-hmm. And once he came back, obviously, his come back to Vegas was bigger than the man landing on the moon at the end of the year.
Because he never landed on the moon. It's a different concept for another day.
Different story. But I do wonder, had we had Elvis, if the Beatles pop would have been as big. Or is because we had a superstar and everybody knew the superstar, if they were like, we need another superstar. All right, he's gone. We lost our star. Like, have you ever noticed, like, no matter what, there's always one global star at one time. Like, growing up, Justin Bieber, you had Miley Cyrus, we had One Direction, and they were global stars. And, like, One Direction has faded and they're gone. And then Harry Styles is big, and he's kind of faded a little bit more, and now it's Taylor Swift. So do you think that they would have had maybe that same pop had Elvis not made the mold?
I mean, I don't think we would see it in the same way we do now.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they would have had the same pop. I think that, genuinely, without Elvis, you would have never had the pop of 90% of these guys.
When Elvis made a template, what really did Elvis create that has transcended generations?
The superstar. He made the superstar.
But I think he didn't make a superstar. He helped draft what would be a celebrity, if you will.
I don't think so at all, because celebrities were more famous than any musician. He was the first global superstar. Everybody knew him. Everybody knew his name. Everybody knew his music. It was listened to around the world. Pressings. I mean, we're talking about records. They had to press these records.
Well, they did that for everybody back in the day.
But not on the level they did it for Elvis, and everybody knew his name.
Well, they only did it for
And you know what's crazy now? We're talking 91 years later. And you can ask probably 75% of the population still if they knew who Elvis Presley was, and they're going to say yes. There's only like 5 people in history they're going to say yes to that too. Michael Jackson, Elvis, Prince, maybe. I would put Prince on that list, and the Beatles. I don't really know if there's a 5th guy.
I don't know. It's very up to interpretation, I think.
It is. It's very up to interpretation. I just don't think that you would have the same global pop of music and influence that these people have had you not had Elvis in the first place.
I mean,
because of course, like what you're saying, of course, Big Boy Carter had influence, and Big Mama Thornton had influence, and James Brown would have probably still had some sort of influence, but they wouldn't have had the influence they did had Elvis not done it first.
Somebody was going to do it at some point.
You're not wrong, but I mean, at the same time, would we have still gotten that same pop that Elvis created? Because, think about it. Did the Beatles really pop, or was it because people were yearning for another star?
I think the Beatles really popped because they were doing. I think that was also how women reacted back in the day.
Well, it was also a different time too, because I don't think you definitely can't assert this, but if you look at like other performers in the 50s, right? Great voices, and they're terrific musicians. So like Dion on the Belmonts, he just kind of stood there, and he's in a suit and tie, and he's sang. And Elvis was just like, it's weird now because like take somebody like Sabrina Carpenter, right? She does she'll do like legitimate sex poses on stage, right? And it's just kind of like, okay, or like Taylor Swift, whatever. But stem back 91 years, and people weren't doing that on stage. I mean, you remember seeing the videos of Frankie Valli. He just didn't do this. Right? And he's just, waving his arms. Everybody just kind of stands there and plays. But then you got a guy who got up there and would, touch himself and shake and move and play. And it was just so different that it made him explode.
I also think, though, it's not necessarily that Elvis exploded. It was that it's what people wanted. It was something new. People were. If people didn't want Elvis, no matter what Elvis did, Elvis wouldn't have become anything.
But they wanted him because he was the embodiment of everything. He wasn't just an entertainer. He had the looks. He had the charisma. He had the sound. He had the moves. He literally had the package.
I think he was who he was because he took the first real step.
Did he really take a step there, or did he just do it?
I'm saying he took one big step and that was it.
I don't think so at all because Seriously, you could. I mean, Dean says all the time. Elvis could sing the phone book and people would have listened. I think no matter what, it was going to happen to him.
It was only going to happen. Had he not have stepped in and recorded that song, it wouldn't have. He took the step. He took the leap to do that.
He didn't even record that song. They stumbled on it.
Well, they were in a recording session. He was like, "I want to try this song."
No, he didn't want to try it. No.
He did.
No, he was freaking out because he was trying to record a pop ballad, and it wasn't working, and so he just started singing this song because Scotty and Bill were getting irritated, and then that's when Phillips told him, "Hold on, go ahead and do that again," and that's when they recorded it.
Well, he was already recording.
He was recording a pop ballad. He literally sang this song, "That's All Right," walking around Sun Studios, freaking out because he didn't have enough money to come back, and Scotty and Bill were basically done. And Sam Phillips, which I don't think Sam Phillips gets enough credit for what he brought through Sun Studios. Jerry Lee, Carl Perkins, Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash.
He didn't bring them, though. Elvis brought them all.
Sam Phillips still put them out.
Yeah.
Sam Phillips had an ear. He was unreal.
What the fuck was that?
We're going to lose the... Oh, here's your coaster.
Oh. I don't know. Because Elvis changed the mold for what he did, but then you still have people like Jerry Lee and Elton John. Like, look at Elton John. Elton John had inspiration from, obviously, Elvis and assumptionably a lot of other people. But I don't know. Sometimes I do wonder, though, like, if Carl Perkins had never written and recorded Blue Suede Shoes, then Elvis would have never had that song.
No, he wouldn't have. But he took Carl's version, and he made it his own version. And everybody knows the Elvis version. If you look at Blue Suede Shoes, of course, Carl Perkins will pop up, but he's not even the top result.
Well, right. Well, because, obviously, like, that's up to anything Elvis did. Like you said, he could sing the phone book and people would buy it, but I don't know.
I just don't think you would have had the same pop out of any of these guys. Honestly. I think you're not wrong. At some point, you probably would have... some guy would have done it. Whether it would have been the Beatles, Prince, or MJ. In reality, I'm just... in my opinion, at least, it would just be one of those three guys. That's it. I don't really think anybody... I don't think Taylor Swift would have broken that mold. I don't think Alan Jackson would have broken that mold. I don't think anybody would have broken that mold besides one of those three guys. Beatles, Prince, or MJ. Which I think, to tell you the truth, like, everybody argues between MJ and Elvis all the time because they're literally the two guys. Those are the guys who revolutionized everything.
I don't know, because then you think about Jerry Lee and Johnny Cash.
You would not have gotten Jerry Lee had you had Elvis, and that is a 1,000,000% factually true statement.
Not necessarily.
Yes, 100%.
Jerry Lee walked into Sun Records at the same time Elvis did. Jerry Lee was bound for glory no matter what.
I don't think so.
That boy could play piano. He walked in there knowing he could, and I don't know.
56, 2 years after Elvis. At this point, Elvis was already a global phenomenon. He already had Heartbreak. He had a good rockin'.
$1 Million Quartet included Jerry Lee Lewis. So when Elvis walked in and played the piano for the first time, when they did that jam session, Jerry Lee already knew what he was doing. Jerry Lee got big whenever he started recording. Jerry Lee was bound for glory with or without.
I don't think Jerry Lee would have done what he did in that rock and roll and his rock and roll sound had Elvis not done it.
I disagree.
I don't think so at all.
Because Jerry Lee already had that.
He wouldn't have been moving. He wouldn't have been shaking around on the piano. He would have been lighting pianos on fire.
Yeah, he would have.
No way.
Yep.
No way.
Look it up.
Carl Perkins wasn't even moving at that time.
Carl Perkins never moved in the first place.
He did after Elvis.
Not really.
That's when he started incorporating those little like leg kicks and all that weird stuff that he would do. And Buddy Holly with the squat and the play. That's all stuff that they would do after Elvis did it.
Buddy Holly didn't. Buddy Holly was like right at the same time as Elvis. Buddy Holly was his own thing.
Buddy Holly was an interesting guy. No. That was 56 because that would have been the year the music died.
Buddy started in 54 or before that.
When did the plane crash?
59, 58, maybe.
58. Early 1957, he recorded a whole lot of shaking. In October of 57, he recorded
because
Rainbow's
in 1956 was when $1 Million Quartet happened.
I genuinely do not think that you would have seen the same Jerry Lee had you not had Elvis.
I think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
I mean, Elvis did a lot, but I mean, you can't say that people wouldn't have done.
And Elvis was still a better entertainer than him at the end of the day. It's crazy. If you watch, Jerry Lee was unreal. The dude would move like crazy, but Elvis still did more.
Right.
And Elvis still had more.
Jerry Lee was his own thing. I think we still would have had Jerry Lee.
I don't think you would have had Jerry Lee on the same level. I think that's literally the argument you're making. I think without Elvis, I think you would have gotten a Jerry Lee, but you wouldn't have had Jerry Lee. You wouldn't have had standing up on the piano and playing. I 1,000,000% factually disagree with you.
I don't think so.
You couldn't do it on TV. You couldn't do it. But what he did.
Jerry Lee wasn't on TV.
Yes, he was.
No, not like Elvis was.
No. But Elvis broke the mold. He already did it on TV. It was already out there.
Right. Well,
had he not done that, Jerry Lee would have never done that.
Jerry Lee was already playing at that time.
He was, but without Elvis doing what he did on TV first, you would have not gotten Jerry Lee. Had Elvis not done what he done in his shows, you would have never gotten that same version of Jerry Lee.
I don't agree with that at all.
That's 100% true. That is 1,000,000% true. At this time, this was Elvis's peak. Everybody was trying to outdo Elvis.
Well, I mean,
you had to do what he did.
You had no other choice.
Because you had to compete with him. So had Elvis not done what he did, you would have never gotten the same version as Jerry Lee, because he wouldn't have had him to compete with. Every single person after Elvis got on TV and after he started making his albums and doing his live shows, you would have never got the same version, because those guys were in competition with him to outperform him, and you couldn't outperform him. That is the truth.
I don't know, man. I think that's up to everybody.
I don't think that's interpretation at all. I think that is a fact.
I think that's interpretation.
I think it's a fact.
No matter what, influence or not, you're never going to know what would happen like that. Like, I mean, you could say that. Who's another famous person?
Out of the 50s?
Like Buddy Holly, for instance. Buddy Holly was doing Buddy Holly before he even needed Elvis. That's the thing. Had Buddy Holly not have died, Elvis probably wouldn't be Elvis in the way he was.
Him, Richie Valens, the Bopper, Big Bopper.
All of those guys. Because Buddy Holly wasn't competing. Buddy Holly was himself. And I think Jerry Lee was the same. Jerry Lee wasn't even performing the same kind of music necessarily. Jerry Lee had a different talent, I think.
I don't think that you would have gotten him. I think you would, without Elvis, I think Jerry Lee would have never been able to make it because of what he was doing.
So the short answer, would Jerry Lee Lewis be who he was without Elvis? And it says yes, but louder and probably less dangerous.
That's what I'm saying.
So Elvis didn't create Jerry Lee, but he opened a door that Jerry kicked down. So, yeah, Jerry Lee Lewis was already a force before Elvis, with his church piano, southern boogie-woogie, and gospel, and a personality that was volatile, confrontational, and fearless. Jerry Lee already had his personality before Elvis even came along. So the shaking and the craziness, that was all on his own.
That was all on his own. So here's what mine says. I said, do you think we would have gotten the same version of Jerry Lee Lewis had Elvis not done what he had by 1956? Mine says, probably not the same. Because Elvis... It's true. Elvis did not create Jerry Lee Lewis, but he cleared the road for him. Had Elvis not opened the road and done what he did, I don't think
cleared the road for music.
He cleared the road for everybody after him.
It said Elvis built the stage and Jerry Lee tried to set it on fire every night. I don't know. I literally think all that happened. I think we would have had a very similar Jerry Lee. I really
without Elvis showing the country why rebellious Southern. Without showing the country would buy rebellious Southern music, Jerry Lee's piano-stopping, fire-breathing persona probably would have been forced into a novelty act, kept regional, or pressured to clean up before the public ever saw him. That's exactly what I've been saying.
But that's just saying who he is to the public eye. I think we still would have had the same Jerry Lee.
Yeah, I don't think you would have at all, because he stemmed from gospel. And I like I said, they would have forced him to clean up.
I mean, I understand that Jerry Lee, The only thing that, and exactly like ChatGPT said, the only thing that Elvis did for Jerry Lee was allow him the opportunity to present himself in a different manner.
He didn't have to invent anything.
Jerry Lee invented his own thing.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Had Elvis not done what he did, Jerry Lee would have never invented it.
It literally just said in there that Jerry Lee's personality was already a thing. He was already him. He already was the wild child, which was whatever his nickname was. So I genuinely think that all Elvis did was built the stage for Jerry Lee to present himself on.
Sun Records had learned from Elvis to not over-polish, capture people's energies, and let the artist be dangerous. Jerry didn't have to invent his approach because it was already proven to work because of Elvis.
Jerry Lee had his own approach.
Jerry Lee did not have his own approach. His approach is literally the same as Elvis, playing a different instrument. When you really think about it. It is rock and roll music. He's shaking, he's moving, and he's being a wildfire on stage. Elvis was the same way. All he did was play the guitar, shake, and sing some songs. The only difference was that Jerry Lee was a piano stomper. The dude literally had brains in his fingers to play.
I mean, we'll never know.
You'll never know, obviously, because of the world that it is. But at the end of the day, I stand by the point that had Elvis not laid the road and broken the mold and showed what a performer could be, you would not have the same guys. You probably wouldn't have most of the same names. And a lot of these guys would not be who they are.
What's on the rest of our thing? You closed our outline.
That's it. I mean, that was the conversation.
Okay.
Artifact Music in the Wild on this day is January 10th.
What happened on this day?
What are the odds of that? January 10th, 1956, Elvis Presley records Heartbreak Hotel for the first time.
In Nashville.
That is wow, that's actually a really monumental...
January 10th.
Wow! Okay.
January 10th is the day Elvis stopped being a breakout star and started becoming Elvis. What is the most perfect thing for this topic?
I know, right?
So May.
Okay, I'm trying to read this real quick.
So Boyd Axton. So May Axton, who wrote the song.
Let's go from the top of the segment. Okay, so I think that was really solid. So let's talk about a little bit of music history. It's a very important day. The day that you're watching this, January 10th, is one of the most... It's kind of interesting because we didn't really plan the MJ thing. It kind of just happened. But one of the most monumental songs that Elvis ever recorded was recorded on this day.
On this day in 1956, Elvis did record Heartbreak Hotel.
And this would have been one of his first sessions with RCA.
RCA Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so... The story goes that they didn't want to record the song because RCA was still kind of new at the time. They didn't want to record songs with the themology of that. So
it was dark. It was dark from 1956. I'm so lonely I could die. They'll be so lonely. It was depressing. It was promoting despair. I mean, that type of music was not going to get radio play.
So May Axton, who was one of the writers. I want to say her son was Boyd Axton or Boyd Axton.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, who also wrote another one of Elvis's famous songs. I don't exactly remember. But I'm pretty sure May Axton wrote it based off somebody jumping out of a window at a hotel.
Really?
There's a photo of a guy upside down falling out of a hotel. And I want to say that that's what this song was written.
It's based off a letter.
A letter.
Interesting.
He wrote a letter and that became the lyrics.
It's interesting. So it's based on a letter. That's very interesting.
So RCA called it morbid and uncommercial.
Mm-hmm. So they didn't want to air it. Maybe it was a depressing song.
What would have been uncommercial in 1956? Because
I don't know. I don't really know what that means.
This kind of goes back to what we talked about in terms of people being who they were because of other people. In 1956, what was commercial music? Frankie Valli and Buddy Holly, that was commercial stuff. And that
it had a chorus, a verse and a chorus.
Nothing of what
this song was.
I don't even care about the structure of the song. I'm talking about just the the meaning. Buddy Holly, it was all love songs, but it was not, like they said, too downbeat and morbid. All of Buddy's stuff was very upbeat, and...
Everybody's songs by this point in 56 were... Even, Johnny Cash was making, hey, get rhythm,
Yeah.
Folsom Prison Blues. I mean, that's interesting. It's an echo-heavy song, because you can almost hear the echo of, the recording booth. It's kind of cool.
So a few of the reasons it actually got recorded was because Mae Axton was very connected to Nashville, and she was personally invested in Elvis, his cut of the song. And then she was a journalist, apparently. So she pushed really hard for it, and Elvis himself liked the song's mood because at the time,
he's probably feeling down.
this would have been his mom. When did she pass? 56, right? Or 58?
Well, after basic training.
So 59?
59.
58, 59. So
that's, I mean, it's kind of crazy. So, I mean, they ended up they pushed it anyways. They're like, all right, we'll do it. You know, they gave in. They caved. So they pushed it, and that's one of their best-selling Elvis songs ever. Sold over 1 million copies, #1 chart just everywhere. The song with no chorus, the song that is talking about killing yourself. I mean...
It actually does not explicitly mention suicide.
No, it doesn't, but it's a very suicidal type of song. Yeah, so it says the idea came from a newspaper about a man who had committed suicide. Mm-hmm. He left a note saying that he walked a lonely street. Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
Can you say that on the podcast?
Yeah.
You can say suicide. It won't block it.
We'll bleep it. Okay, so the Axtons, so Mae Axton co-wrote Heartbreak. Hoyt Axton, her son.
Hoyt, that was it.
He wrote Never Been to Spain, which is my favorite Elvis song.
It. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was Boyd. I wanted to say it was Boyd because I remember the YT. So Hoyt Axton wrote Never Been to Spain. And the only reason I know that is because Jeff Lewis, his favorite Elvis song has Never Been to... Well, his like flagship song that he sings is Never Been to Spain. And he told a story on Tupelo Tom and Big Lou Talkin', their podcast. And he talked about Never Been to Spain and how Hoyt Axton, her son, wrote that song. And that's why the connection is so great between Mae Axton writing Heartbreak and all of that stuff. So
that's
that was
so cool.
Right. I couldn't remember which... I wanted to say Kentucky Rain, but then I remembered that was...
So Hoyt Axton's mom helped Elvis get one of his first ever #1 hits. And then Hoyt Axton wrote one of his like era-defining songs in the 70s. And it's kind of got the same vibe. I guess when you really...
What? Very rare case where two different... I'm so lonely I could die too. Well, I've never been to England.
So it's kind of interesting because these two songs, I mean, like, they somewhat compare, like, they kind of compare. 16-year difference. Because Heartbreak is a very isolated song. It's a very emotional song about pain. But then, like, Spain, it's like life experience, contradiction, reflection, self-awareness. It's almost like two flip-flop verdicts between the mother and son, which I think is kind of interesting.
I think the songs that Elvis sang in the 50s versus the songs that Elvis sang in the 70s shows how he changed as a person so much.
I really do as well. 100%.
You can tell because the movies were his limbo years.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a guy go from singing Heartbreak Hotel to Queenie Wahini's Papaya, and then he's like singing fucking Spain, you know? It's like so much.
3 Dogs Night, that's a good band too.
3 Dog Night?
I love that song. Never Been to Spain is so good.
That is a really good way to put it. Heartbreak Hotel is Elvis alone in a room. Spain is Elvis in front of the world.
That is a very good way to put it. I think it's a very good way to wrap it up. I also think it's a very good way to wrap up this episode of For the Record. So
we're not done yet. You got to go back to the...
We're done.
We have another thing on
We
that.
don't have anything else.
We do. On this day, quick fact. We did that already. Final thoughts. Closing reflection each. What's your closing reflection?
This is so bright.
If you had to look into a mirror and think about a reflection, what is your reflection?
Okay. I think it's a good way to wrap up this episode. We want to thank you guys for watching episode 12 of For the Record. I think this episode has been pretty terrific. I think that the MJ and Elvis talk, I think, is a very interesting conversation. We'd love to hear your guys' opinions in the comments below, or text the phone number, or leave it on one of our social medias, which are all listed in the description.
Scream it off your front porch.
Scream it off your front porch. That's what works.
We didn't do the last part, but okay.
This is the last part.
Literally, we were just talking about it. The reflection
Dude,
part.
this is literally reflecting on the episode.
Nuh-uh. What's your one closing reflection? If you have a remark, like you want to tell everybody something, what's your closing reflecting remark?
You should tie that into the outro.
It is the outro.
I was getting there.
You already did the outro. The outro is the soft landing, which is the cut. We're to the final thought, which is before we cut. The outro says, "All right, same chairs, same time."
Okay,
next
we
week.
didn't even do that for the last episode, and that's corny.
Well, I know I didn't put it there.
Just work with me through the outro. We're on the final part. I'm baking it all in together.
But I don't want to bake it together. You're gonna set the oven on fire.
We literally just baked it together in the last episode.
This is the cold open. Jeffrey's tired and he's ready to go back down the street.
We want to thank you guys for watching episode 12 of For the Record. I think it was a very interesting episode. I think at the end of the day, like what I was saying, I think that without Elvis, we probably wouldn't have the same global pop of these entertainers, which we all know Tyler disagreed with.
Yeah, I don't fully agree, but I mean, I think it's up to everybody's interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, and it's valid. We like to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Whether you think we still have some of these guys without Elvis. As always, all of our socials are in the description below, and there's a phone number to text, which is on the screen right now. We forgot to talk about this in the last episode, but For the Good, brand ambassador, use what's the code? Tyler10?
It's on the thing.
It's on the screen right here. Use that code for 10% off your order for Find the Good. They're a great
Did you
organization.
ever get yours figured out?
No, I haven't bought anything yet.
Okay.
They're a great organization that goes towards mental health.
They need to restock, though. I can't buy anything new because they don't have anything in stock.
As always, I guess as new, we are on Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify,
Podcap.
We're on a little bit of everything. So give them a listen, download it, subscribe to us on there. It's
or just watch on YouTube. That's fine.
Please come back every single week. We love you guys. We love every single person that there is. I mean, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
What's my one closing reflection? I want to be back in Mexico.
We haven't even gone to Mexico yet.
We have!
According to this, yes, but we already talked about that.
I want to go back to Mexico. It is January 10th right now, and I want to go back to Mexico.
I don't know if I want to yet.
It is January 10th at like 12:40.
It's December 30th at 7:38 p.m.
No, it's not. It's January 10th. You're ruining the magic.
This next episode is going to be an absolute blast. We're mighty excited to bring it to you guys. With that said, like I said, thank you for watching. Everything's in the description below. Text the phone number. Buy the goods. Follow us on Apple Music.
Buy the goods.
Buy from Find the Goods.
You know, if you want to get a For the Record shirt, rnr-productions.com/store.
Which is in the description.
Buy a shirt, please. I'm still in chair debt.
We are from 2 weeks ago.
We are. Where I'm going to Mexico, man.
So, thank you guys for watching. It's been another great episode. We'll see you guys next week.
January 17th. What's your final one reflection?
I already had my reflection.
What was it?
Elvis, that we wouldn't have had the same global pop without Elvis.
That was your reflection?
Yes.
Oh. This is a moment to deeply think and reflect on everything that just took place.
I deeply thought that you don't know how an outro works.
No, I just was going based on the outline. All right, same chairs and same time next week.
That's so corny. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later.
You just outroed like 6 times. Watch your head. Thank you for watching For the Record, episode 12.
Turn your camera on. Holy balls.
The audio's still going, so I can keep that going too. Bye, everybody. See you next week.